How do you build your relationship with your audience? So no matter where you are in your business, if you are just starting out or if you already have somewhat of an existing audience, this is the most important thing that you can do to move your audience forward to a point where they're ready to buy from you. And the reason for that is no matter what you're selling, whether you're selling your coaching or consulting services or ultimately even some sort of course or product, yes, that has to be reasonably good. It has to be good. You can't sell anything, no matter how great your relationship with your audience is, if it's not good. But that baseline aside, what your audience is buying is you. It's their relationship with you. So how do you go about building that relationship? That's what we're going to talk about today. So let's just jump right into it. The first thing that I'm going to share for how to build your relationship with your audience is the easiest tactical thing that you can go out there and implement right away. I want you to think about building your relationship with your audience the same way that you think about building a relationship with a new friend. It really is the same concept in many ways. What would you do to build that relationship? Well, you would probably start by having some dinners or lunches or coffees with that friend, maybe texting them a little bit, maybe calling them on the phone. It's the exact same thing with your audience. And so this is especially easy to implement if you are just starting out and have a very small or non-existent audience where you want to be personally building those relationships in person or virtually in person with people who are going to be a part of your audience. And that can be as simple as responding to someone who commented on one of your posts. Hey, thanks so much. Let me know how I can support you, or if there's something that I can help you with for free, just as a token of my appreciation. Or if you have a bit of an audience and people are DMing you on Instagram, for example, or messaging you on Facebook or emailing you from your email list, it's the same thing. You can be responding and saying, hey, thanks so much, and how can I support you? And then maybe dropping them a quick audio or video note to let them know, hey, I thought you might find this helpful. I'm thinking of you. Here it is. So really small things like that, even as simple as responding to emails that come in or comments that you get on any of your social media platforms or private messages that you get through any of your accounts. It's as simple as that to build your relationship with your audience. You can also provide free mini coaching sessions or free calls at a set period of time at regular intervals to, again, connect with people who have basically raised their hand and said, hey, I'm willing to give you my attention and my trust because I'm interested in what you have to say. That, especially if you are new to the online world and you have yet to build your credibility and your authority, hey, that's a really rare thing, right? And so you want to reciprocate. This can be as simple as saying, hey, I've set up a calendar. You can use something like Calendly, which I still use to this day, and put on the calendar a set amount of free space every week, every other week, once a month, whatever feels right to you, to say, hey, just as some appreciation for you being a part of my audience, I am opening up this many free calls to chat with you. First come, first serve. I'd love to just chat with you, book a call. So those are really simple things that you can do right now. Even if you're just starting out, if you have no audience, but there are people who've started responding a little bit on your social media posts, or you've started building your email list a little bit and you've got one or two people who are on your email list, it can be as simple as sending them a personal email or a personal note or inviting them to connect with you personally. That's how it starts. Even to this day, I will often read the email responses from my subscribers, and we have tens of thousands of subscribers, so it's not something that I can do every day, but I do it from time to time, and I will pick some that are really thoughtful or people who I've seen email a lot and record a quick personal note or send them a quick personal email just to say, hi, I see you. If they ask a quick question that I can answer, I will answer it, just to let them know, hey, I appreciate you for being here and for also just providing these thoughtful comments. The good news about that is that you can start using that today, right away, no matter where you are in your business. The not so great news about that is that it's not scalable. You can only call so many people. You can only speak to so many people. So What do you do to really scale it so that everyone in your audience, as you build your business, can feel who you really are? This is where it gets really fun, where we get to talk about slightly more advanced tips for relationship building. Now, the same principle applies, thinking about how you would build a relationship with your friend, for example. You, after having those coffee chats or lunches or dinners or whatever that looks like, what would you do? How would you get to know them? Probably through conversations where just your natural personality comes across, where you're sharing stories that really show who you are as a person. So that's what you want to be doing with your audience as well. So I'm going to give you some really tangible steps so that you can go out there and implement them today or sometime in the near future. What I will say is the sooner you implement them, the sooner you're going to see better results with your audience paying more attention to your content, being more interested in what you have to sell, because they now feel that connection to you. It's not just, oh, hey, here's a product I'm putting out. Here's my coaching services. It's, hey, here's this person that I really know. I love their stuff. I love their content, their emails. I look forward to reading them because I really feel like I know them. And that is going to help you really just sell out no matter what it is that you are selling. All right, so what I'm going to have you do is a really powerful exercise where the first piece of the exercise is I want you to think about one or two things that you really love to do that you can share with your audience. Let me give you an example. And this has to be true, by the way. You can't just make this up. So something I really love to do is I really love to watch movies and TV shows. I'm not alone in that, but I have to say there's just something really magical about being able to be transported into a completely different world and be involved in the drama. And honestly, sometimes it's good just to put something on and then just have your thoughts going on. It helps you think a little bit, or maybe not think if it's been a long day. Where I'm going with this is because I watch a good amount of movies and TV shows, often I will watch an episode and then I will think, oh, you know what? The people I help build their online businesses and go from employee to entrepreneur, there's a lesson in this episode that I can share with them. So for example, I love the TV show Billions. And if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. But what I will do is, for example, I recently saw an episode where the main character, who's this billionaire hedge fund manager, there's a person who works for him called Bill, who is his go-to guy. He is 100% dependable. He will always be there for his manager. And so in the very first season, there's this instance where he is basically Bill is convicted for insider trading. And the people who are interrogating him want to get his boss, not him. They want to get Axe. And so they threaten him by saying, hey, if you don't turn on your boss, we're going to email your wife and let her know that you have a whole other family and you've been cheating on her. And he says, you know what? Let me see that email. And he presses send and he sends that email because he has been prepared. He is willing to do what it takes to be there for his manager. I mean, not so much his manager, but really his friend and his manager, his boss, Axe. And so I told a story about that and about the importance of having that dependability and creating that type of relationship with your audience. Kind of like what we're talking about right now. And I had the whole point of the email be the bill for your audience, right? That go-to person they can always depend on. It was a really great, fun email. It was really valuable for my audience, had a really great lesson, and it showed them a little bit of my personality, what I prefer, what I like, through sharing, hey, I'm the person who loves watching TV shows. And this might seem like a really trivial detail, but I have had so many people in my audience say, hey, I love reading your emails. I love buying your courses because it's obvious that you have fun with your business. You're working hard, you're helping a lot of people, but at the same time, you're also making time in your life for other things. You're not just sitting in front of your computer 24/7. And so these little things go a long way to building that relationship. And so to wrap up this first tip, what I want you to do is find one thing that you really, really enjoy doing, that you do pretty frequently, that you can share a lot of different stories about. For some people, it might be that they love to eat, right? So that's something else I love to do as well. I live in New York City and I love exploring new restaurants. And so there could be so many lessons learned from different types of restaurants, food. I've written emails about Yelp reviews. And so lots of great content for you there as well. So it really just depends on what your interests are and choosing one that you can really continue to talk about. Okay, so that's tip number one. Tip number two is really, I would say, choose a few core beliefs that you really want to share with your audience. And they should ideally start out being related to what it is that you do. And so again, let me use myself as an example. So I strongly believe that anybody can build a business that allows them to replace their job and free them from the 9-to-5. However, not everyone is going to do it because it takes a lot of work and a lot of people are not willing to do that work. So often I will give tough love to my audience and say, hey, if you love reading my emails and not doing anything about it, great, enjoy them, they're here for you. However, if you're serious about building your business, you have to realize it's gonna take work on your part. And that extends into all of my courses, my policies, just entirely throughout my brand. So for example, when I'm selling my courses, I make it very clear, hey, this course has been proven. At this point, I've worked with thousands of students. However, if you I want to help you minimize the risk of investing in a course. And what I'll do is say, hey, I've got this return policy, whether it's 30 or 60 days, depending on the size of the course, where if you do the work, and I list out exactly what work you have to do, and you don't get the results or you don't love it, then you can get a refund. But no, you cannot just come in, look around the course, decide you don't want to do this, and then ask for a refund. In that case, don't buy the course at all. Save your money, save us both some hassle, right? So I make that really clear because a course or a coach or whatever is not a magic bullet. It's something that where you have to do the work. Even once you have the guidance, you have to implement it yourself. And so I make that really clear. I don't have a no risk refund policy in my courses because if you don't want any risk, then you should not be in the business of building your own business. There's inherent risk in that. So that's another example of how I share my beliefs throughout my content and everything that I have to share. So I really want you to sit and think about what is it that you really believe. I'll share with you another belief that I have that has led to so many of my clients purchasing from me because of that exact thing, which is that, so my background is as an engineer. I'm very logical, I'm very methodical, I'm very numbers focused. So I will always say, hey, if you're doing the things in your business and it's not working, there's a reason for that. It's not just like, oh, you don't want it enough, or, you can't have it when someone else can. You just aren't lucky enough. You aren't meant for it. I will say, hey, look, for each thing that's going on, for example, if you haven't gotten enough sales calls this month in your business, let's look at what activities did you do to generate leads? What activities did you do to generate those, convert those leads into sales calls? And what activities did you do to convert those sales calls into potential sales? Really breaking down that process, then we can analyze where the breakage is or where the multiple points of breakage are. Maybe you didn't drive enough leads. Maybe the content that you shared wasn't, there was a lot of room for improvement for driving them into scheduling sales calls with you. Whatever that is, we'll identify it and we'll fix it. And I'm really that way with anything in my business and in what I'm teaching for my students as well. And so what that means is that a lot of my students come to me and say, hey, I love this methodical approach. I love that there are step-by-steps that I can implement. And if something's not working, I can know what to analyze, what variables to analyze, improve to have it work. And that makes such a massive difference. All right. And so again, that informs everything that I share in my content, where I will share things like I just shared with you, or where I will give different examples of how to really troubleshoot when things aren't working in your business. And of course, in my paid courses as well, that's very much built into every lesson. And so again, you can see this is built throughout every single thing that I share with my audience, and is very much part of the relationship I have with them. Okay, Louise is the person I can depend on. She's the bill, be the bill, right? She's my bill. like we were talking about in the earlier example, she's the person who will help me figure out through her courses what isn't working, or if I'm just starting from scratch, how to build it step by step so that it's a true business that makes sense and that works. So you can see this relationship is starting to form. Now, the third and final piece that I will share with you, which is just as important, is to share it in your voice. So this is so key. And I will tell you, this is something I struggled with for years, because you know how in the corporate world, we are taught to speak very professionally, saying things like, please advise. I love that phrase. I don't love it, but I have a lot of fun with that phrase because I used to use it so much, especially when I was starting out in my corporate career. But if you say something like that when you're building your business, emailing your list, posting on social media, your audience is going to get bored pretty darn quickly. And so what you've got to do, and this is, to be honest, this was one of the hardest things that I had to relearn, that actually took me years to really reopen myself to speaking in my voice, right? And the best thing to do to really build this skill or rebuild it for yourself is to take out a recorder, use your cell phone, record yourself talking, talk out the piece of content that you want to share, and imagine that you're talking to your best friend and explaining it to them. If you are able to do that, then you can take what you recorded and just write it out. That is the fastest way to really start sounding like you. And when you do, guess what? You instantly stand out. You instantly captivate people's interest, and you build that relationship with them so much faster. I can't tell you how many years I spent saying really just corporate sounding emails and social media posts that, yes, were really valuable, but didn't really convey who I am. I'll tell you, hopefully you can see a little bit of it through this video, but I'm a little bit sarcastic, right? I've got a little bit of an edge of that, hey, look, I'm kind, I'm here to help you, but don't mess with me vibe. And I've got a little bit of that, hey, once we start talking business, we are gonna be in it. We're gonna be focusing on it until we figure it out, really digging in deep, given my engineering background. And so all of those things combined, like right now when I'm talking to you as I'm recording this video, I'm imagining sitting here talking to one of my favorite clients, really just like getting deep into the content afterwards. It'll be off screen. We'll probably have some jokes, right? And just have some fun with it. And so I'm just imagining all of that as I'm sitting here speaking and sharing this video. And I do that no matter what type of content I'm sharing. When I'm writing emails, I literally, nowadays, and this took a lot of practice, I will sit and just say whatever it is that I feel. Sometimes it's not very PC, and sometimes the grammar is not perfect. That's fine. I'll just type it all out. And then I'll go back and clean it up a little bit to make sure that people don't think, oh, Louisa doesn't know how to spell or her grammar sucks. No, that was just me writing in the moment. And so if you do those things, that's going to help you instantly really stand out head and shoulders above the rest of your competition, and instantly, no matter where you are in your business right now, skyrocket your business, because people, like, your product has to be good enough. But guess what? If you are in coaching or consulting, or maybe even selling some sort of course in your business, you're in a crowded industry. That's good news, because it means there's a lot of people who want what you have to sell. But how do you let them know you are the person for them? It's not by saying, hey, my product is the best. Yes, it does need to be pretty darn good, but there are so many good products out there. That alone is not enough. What you need to be doing is essentially kind of selling yourself, selling who you are, your quirks, your interests, your hobbies, your voice. If you do all of that, that's going to, even if you don't have a lot of brand recognition right now because you're new in your business, you don't have a huge audience, that's going to amplify the existing relationship that you do already have and help you get clients so much faster. This is how I've been able to help so many of my students through my courses, using these tips, really get their first paying, next paying clients really, really quickly, no matter how crowded their industry is, because they use these steps to really, to show, hey, I'm different. and build that relationship very quickly with potential clients who then turned into paying clients. So that's it for today. I really hope you found this super valuable and a great way to kind of go out there and start building your relationship with your audience, especially if you're like me, where I'm an introvert and it's taken me years and years of practice to really feel comfortable in front of the video or in front of the camera or to share really interesting content that's just me. So if you found that helpful, then there are two things that I want to share with you. The first thing is I've got a really cool video on how to charge $1,000 or more as a new coach. So make sure that you go and check that out. The link is somewhere on this screen. And I've also got a really great PDF for you on my 20-second script to get your first or your next paying client. The link is also on the screen or in the description below. So again, make sure that you check those two things out. If you found this helpful, make sure you hit subscribe so that you're notified each week when I release a new video like this on building your own online business. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.